Hey guys, it's Dr. Sam Robbins, and I get a lot of questions from men about masturbation, sex, and orgasms. And obviously there's a lot of misinformation out there, and these are things I wish I had known when I was younger. And today you'll discover all the various hormonal changes, again, the good and the bad, that happens after you have an orgasm. For example, how it can lower your testosterone levels, how an orgasm can cause erectile problems, what happens to you and your partner emotionally after you have an orgasm, and finally, how you can make dramatic improvements in your hormone levels so you can increase your testosterone levels, have harder erections, and have more orgasms more often. Basically, when you were similar to when you were young and healthy. And simply stated, when a man orgasms, there are short-term hormonal changes, including fluctuations in all the hormones, testosterone levels, and female and stress hormones. And I'll give you a simple breakdown of what happens immediately after, as well as the next 24 to 48 hours after you ejaculate, hormonally, physically, and emotionally. However, before I start with what happens to a man after your orgasms, let's quickly tell you and discuss what happens before you have an orgasm. Simply stated, the thought of having sex, or I guess even masturbating, your body starts to get aroused because of your mind. And there is an increase in various hormones and neurotransmitters such as testosterone and dopamine. Now, this internal foreplay, and I mean in your mind where it all first gets started, and then maybe a little bit of touch here and there, is important to give your body that extra boost in the pro-sexual hormones, such as, again, testosterone and dopamine, to create more nitric oxide to produce blood flow to the penis and basically get erections. Now, the difference between men and women is that men need less time for that foreplay to get the hormones produced in order to get in the mood and perform. Think of it this way. Men are like microwaves, right? It happens quickly, while women are more like ovens. So it takes a little bit longer. So keep that in mind. Focus on her first, because us guys, things happen much quicker. All right. So now that you know what happens before, let's talk about, what after you've done the deed, right? After you've had your orgasm, you come and all that stuff, what happens to you? First, let's talk about the immediate effects. First of all, there is testosterone release. The testosterone levels will temporarily increase shortly after your orgasm due to, again, association from the physical and emotional arousal. So there's a slight, continuation from that foreplay. However, this rise after your orgasm is usually very brief, all right? It's like maybe a minute or two. And then there's a drop in testosterone levels after you have an orgasm. All right, what happens next? There is, and after you have that orgasm, the next thing that happens is prolactin levels typically increase. Prolactin is associated with refractory period, and that's a time needed before sexual arousal and an orgasm can occur. Basically, remember when you were younger, you would be able to have orgasms a lot more often, quicker. Later on, when you get older, it takes longer, and that has to do with the refractory period and prolactin levels. Now, in women, high prolactin is released giving birth to help produce milk for the baby. That's what happens in women. Now, even though prolactin is more of a female dominant hormone, both men and women have all the same hormones, but just in different amounts and ratios. What's interesting is that during this high prolactin level in women, for milking after birth, that's also the time when women typically have little or no sex drive. And a lot of it has to do with all the various things that are happening, lack of sleep and all this, but it has to do with that higher prolactin levels because your body is now focused on milking. So therefore, the higher prolactin will also temporarily suppress testosterone levels as well as dopamine. I'll get more into this a little bit later. In younger men, this is a short time. That refractory period is short, so you can get erections more often. In older men, it can be much longer. And I'll tell you how you can fix this later. Now, this is one reason that you can have erections and orgasms more often when you're younger, like maybe once, twice, or even 3 times daily in your teenage years and early 20s. However, later on in life, it goes longer. Maybe you got to wait at least a day or two. Maybe you go only once, twice, or 3 times a week, sometimes even weeks, and much longer as the guy gets older. Now, there's another hormone that increases after orgasm, and there's a big surge in of it, and it's called oxytocin. And this happens in both men and women. Now, this hormone is often called, oxytocin is often called the bonding hormone or that love hormone because it enhances feelings of trust and bonding and that emotional connection. In men, oxytocin contributes to also a sense of relaxation and satisfaction after an orgasm and may also help deepen that intimacy with a partner, assuming that partner is someone you've been with for a while now. And finally, immediately after an orgasm, there is, in addition to the prolactin increase, there is an increase in the stress hormone cortisol after an orgasm. Now, similar to prolactin, this increase in cortisol is smaller and shorter in men and higher and longer in older men. Basically, all these negative hormones is less in younger men and a lot more in older men. And one thing to keep in mind is that cortisol, the stress hormone, suppresses testosterone production and it can remain elevated for prolonged periods. That means the higher the cortisol levels, the lower your testosterone levels. In fact, this hormone, cortisol, opposes testosterone. And it does so, when people ask, hey, what's the opposite of testosterone? I tell them it's cortisol, not estrogen, the female hormone, but cortisol. That's the main problem. And this is because your body is like, hey, we're under stress, don't have sex, therefore lower testosterone levels. And this is why it's even hard, to get an erection when you're under a lot of stress, such as lack of sleep or work problems, money problems, emotional, financial issues, and so on and so forth, which unfortunately, a lot of us have extra stress these days. Now let's continue what happens after an orgasm in the next 24 to 48 hours. First of all, there's a baseline testosterone recovery. Basically, your testosterone levels generally return to baseline within a few hours after an orgasm. For most men, there isn't this long suppression of testosterone levels. However, I'll get more into this deep a little bit later. Again, if you're young and more importantly, healthy, hormone levels will go back to normal quickly. That's great. And I'll tell you how to speed up all this at the end of this video. Again, for older men, it takes longer. That's the problem. The next one changes is the frequency of your ejaculation. Now, some studies suggest that frequent ejaculation, like daily or multiple times a day, might lead to a slight or temporary reduction in testosterone levels due to all the reasons I mentioned earlier, such as the increase in prolactin and cortisol levels. However, the impact is usually minor and doesn't really negatively affect your performance for most men. Again, much worse if you're over the age of 30. Conversely, some studies on the opposite end showed that abstinence from ejaculation, therefore you're not having any orgasms, for about a week has been shown to cause a temporarily spike and increase in testosterone levels, possibly due to that buildup of sexual energy and arousal. Now, this temporary spike in testosterone is even higher if you get aroused, such as masturbating or having sex, but do not have an orgasm, all right? So what does this mean? If you're single and you're watching porn and masturbating every day, your testosterone levels will probably be lower over time, and you're not going to be motivated to go out and meet women in the regular world and have regular sex and have healthy relationships. Simply stated, you're not hungry, sexually speaking. Just something to consider for you guys who are somewhat, quote unquote, addicted to porn. Now, studies have shown that basically, having orgasms and masturbating all the time really does not cause long-term suppression, okay? But it does decrease, a sense of well-being all the time because of all these hormonal fluctuations. Again, when you're younger, right, those teenage years, you're just thinking about it all the time. And it's more natural, and you can get, swing right back into normal homeostasis quickly. So you're not really negatively affected by having lots of orgasms or ejaculating or masturbating all the time, daily and so forth when you're young, those teenage years. But later on in life, in your mid-20s and definitely after the age of 30, it does, I believe, negatively impact you if you're doing it all the time because your hormones don't bounce back like they used to. Again, I'll tell you how to fix this a little bit later in the video. Now, before I offer some solutions and options for maximizing your testosterone levels and improving your erection so you can have orgasms more often, more quickly, and better and all that stuff, let me quickly talk about the emotional changes that happen after a man has an orgasm, because this is something most people don't talk about. Because of all these hormonal changes post-orgasm, a guy typically feels very relaxed, right? It's like having a good meal, you're full. Now, basically, a man's gone from arousal to relaxation. However, a guy also feels a bit disconnected now after having an orgasm. He basically wants to be left alone, or just basically maybe go take a nap, relax, go eat, go watch TV, basically go in his own little world. The last thing a guy wants to do is talk and have deep conversations after sex and having an orgasm. Ironically, this is the exact opposite that happens emotionally to women after they orgasm. Women feel much more connected after an orgasm, right? They want to be held and touched. Now, this is the time when women want to keep talking and conversing and share about everything in their life. It's funny, before sex, the guy is doing all the talking, right? Because he's trying to get laid. This is due to the increase in testosterone and dopamine levels. Remember that foreplay? These are the reward, pleasure-seeking hormones and neurotransmitters, right? He's on the prowl. He wants to get laid. So he's going to be talking and doing all his cool stuff. However, after an orgasm, when he's done, basically, he's accomplished his goal as nature has designed it. Now, due to that drop in testosterone and dopamine and endorphins and the simultaneous rise in prolactin and other female hormones and stress hormones, he just wants to be left alone. Something in the back of his mind is thinking, and I hate to say it, hey, I'm done for now. Basically, how do I get out of here and go back to my normal life? I know this sounds horrible and crass and selfish, but this is just how it is for most men. Don't blame the guy. It's just how the hormones and the DNA and the wiring and how nature has designed things. All right. Again, this is not all men, but generally speaking. All right. So you've listened to all this so far and you're thinking, great, I get it. I understand the ups and downs. How do I maximize it? What are the solutions, right? Well, honestly, this is just how things are, right? But the truth is, the sooner you get your hormones back to baseline, right, the faster you'll want to be driven again, right, and horny again, and be able to get an erection and have another orgasm, right? The sooner you can do this, better. This is when you're younger and healthier. This happens quickly, maybe in an hour or minutes, right, in a few hours. Unfortunately, when you get older, due to the lower testosterone levels and all the different hormonal changes, it takes longer. So we have two options. First is, like most people, you just accept it and be done with it, all right? Which is not how successful people live their lives. They don't just accept something and say, well, this is just how it is. I guess I'm getting older. Second option is improve your hormones, all right? And do so naturally. And I hate to say this, I keep talking about, this is why I created AlphaViril for myself over 25 years ago, back in 1999. As an endocrinology hormone doctor, I basically decided to play with different herbs to help increase my testosterone and free testosterone and dopamine levels. These are all the prosexual hormones, while at the same time simultaneously lowering female dominant hormones such as estrogen and prolactin levels, and also decrease stress and cortisol levels. So AlphaViril helps upregulate your prosexual and decrease your negative sexual hormones. Now, not only do I have hundreds of before and after blood tests with thousands of users showing these positive results, more importantly, people always report back. They have better sex drive, they have better ability to get erections, and they have better mood and confidence, right? They always say, I wish I had done this earlier. And listen, it's so effective that I offer a 1-year guarantee for AlphaViril, and results in 30 days, or you pay nothing and you get an extra $100 cash back on top of it. And I'm not nuts, but I can give such a powerful risk-free guarantee because I have over 25 years of proof. Now, honestly, I don't care whether you try AlphaViril or not. That's up to you. If your testosterone levels are good, right, and you're always horny and you have no problem getting erections, then great. Listen to what I said. Keep living the healthy lifestyle. You probably don't need AlphaViril. However, if you want to improve all this, then just give AlphaViril a try. Either way, I promise you one thing, and listen carefully. Things will not magically improve, all right? if you don't do something about it. The older you get, the more stress and the more problems, the worse your testosterone, libido, and erections. This I guarantee, and I know you can agree with this, all right? If you want to make sure your intimate relationships improve and thrive, then you must take action now and improve your hormones. I put the links to AlphaViril below. You can get a risk-free try. And I put links to additional information and videos if you want more details about improving testosterone levels and so forth. Now, it's up to you. But one thing I always say at the end of my videos, please don't be like most people and just passively listen and go about your day. Take action. That's the only way to improve your life. Take consistent daily actions and do so now. You owe it to yourself and your future happiness. I hope this was helpful. Let me know below if you have any questions, any topics you want me to delve into, deeper stuff. And at the same time, if you're not already, please subscribe, click the like button, notifications, and all that good stuff. Have a happy and healthy day.